Hello, this is Landon from Design Visionaries, and today I'm going to show you part modules in NX9. Part modules allow you to collaboratively work on the same part file at the same time with multiple users on different sessions of NX. This is very handy if you have a part that needs a lot of work between different people, and instead of having to wait until one person's done, close it out, and then another person works on it. Even in Team Center, when you have version control, you still have to wait for one to be, locked out, or you make a copy of it, and those things have to be merged in later, and it can be kind of a pain. But using part modules, you can effectively increase the productivity time of a particular part by having multiple people work on it at the same time and have all those changes merge back into a final piece. So to do that, first and foremost, you're going to want to create a part module. So I'm going to call this, my first module is going to be called the base, which will be the base module I'm going to use. And I'm going to go ahead and you'll notice this little green dot here on the part module. This tells whether or not the part module you're working on is active or not. If it's not active, anything you create in NX will not go in this module. It will go outside of it. While it's active, anything you create will go inside of this module. So I want to create a block inside of this module, and this is going to be used as the base part that will be worked on collaboratively between different sessions of NX. So now that I have a block ready, I need to specify a module output. This is just the body that's going to be exported to other modules. So now I'm going to go ahead and deactivate this module and create a new module. I'm going to call this blended. Hit OK. And you'll notice that when this module became activated, the previous geometry became dimmed out, and much like you would see if you made a work part active in an assembly, it kind of follows the same functionality. I cannot modify this whatsoever. In order to modify this geometry in this module, I need to go to part module, and I need to define a module input. And I'm going to choose blended. This is the module that I'm pulling the info into. And the body, I want this output body from base. Hit OK. And then I'm going to want to create a module output. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select this input body. And what's going to happen is anything I make inside this blended module is going to be sent to this output body. The output body usually will move down and as you add features to this, and will update accordingly. So now that I have the part module blended created, I'm going to go ahead and deactivate this, and I'm going to make one more module, and this will be called holes. I'm going to put some holes in this guy and hit OK. And it does the same exact thing. I need to follow the same steps, but this time I'm going to pull in the body from blended, because I want all the changes from blended to go into this part module when I add the holes. And I could make the module pull in from the base, but the problem is merging those changes later on might become very hard, and doing it that method is probably more ideal for having an on and off switch for a part that has different pieces that need to change depending on the situation and where it's at, which you can have in the same part file. So but for this example, I'm going to do it in a hierarchical fashion, so that you can see how the changes I make to each module will be combined into a final result. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that the output body here is selected, hit OK. Now I have my input body, and I'm going to go ahead and specify a new output, and we'll just do the same thing, pick the input body, hit OK. Alright, so in order for a person to actually work on these separately, I have to turn these modules into linked parts. So I'm going to select the module I want to make a linked part, and go part module, create linked part. And this allows me to save that module as an external file, so I'll call it blended, hit OK. And you see now it became a linked part module blended. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for holes. Format part module, create linked part, call it holes, hit OK. Now we have two linked modules. And I'm going to save all and make sure that I close those parts that we created blended and holes, because if I leave them open, the other people can work on them, but if I hit save in here, it'll probably overwrite those files and the other person will get locked out from trying to make changes. It'll give them an error saying, oh, that there's a new version available. And so to prevent that, if I still wanted to continue working in this part, I want to make sure that those parts are closed. And you'll see that it's still checked and stuff, but what happened now is that if I make any changes here, it's not going to affect their parts. So in a different session of NX, I should be able to open those files now. So I can go to blended and hit open, and you can see I'm in the new file. You'll see this part module here, linked part module, but it's not active. So I need to make this active for any changes I do to go in here and to show up in my output body that gets sent back. Make sure that this linked part module is active. And I'm going to go ahead and put a blend on this, just around the edges here. Blend, hit OK. And I'm going to go ahead and just do a shell. So hit OK, do a shell. And you'll see these little red boxes here pop up, and this just means that the changes I made to this module are not up to date. So if you're working in the same session and you make the module a work part, or a work part, this will show up, and you can click that to update it. You can also deactivate it, and it will automatically update the module. It'll also be sent back to the other base part file, showing that those parts are not up to date. So I went ahead and made this active. Now I want to save and close, but just a fair warning here, if you save and close while this module is active, I cannot be updated back in the main part. This locks it out, and it prevents the modules from being updated. In case you're still working on it, you can still close it and stuff and work on it later. It just prevents anyone from pulling in the new changes, in case you're not completely done with it. But since I'm done, I'm going to deactivate it. I'm going to save this. I'm going to make sure it's closed. Great. I'm going to go ahead and open now the chamfer and the hole. Actually, that's not the one we did. The one I wanted to open was just called holes. Alright, here we are. So on this one, I'm just going to put a hole through the main body. And I want to just go ahead and make sure this is centered. So we'll pick our little datum point, midpoint here, datum point, midpoint here. Good. Alright, finish sketch. And we have a hole through the body. Hit OK. That looks good. And look, I forgot to make this part module active, and look what happened. The countersunk hole ended up being stuck outside of the module. I cannot drag it in, so what I have to do is I'm going to have to redo that inside of an active part module. So now I have to click it, because if I were to send that back, that hole would not show up because it was outside of the module. So if there's any other changes you need to make to a part that you want to keep separate, you can do it that way too. You can also make modules within a module. So if you're in a moduleception, you know. Go ahead and make this midpoint and this midpoint close. So there's really no limit on how many modules you can make, but it may get tedious to keep track of everything. But you know, you can have many people working on a specific portion of the model at the same time. Alright, so I went ahead and I created that hole, and now I see that it needs to be updated. I'm going to deactivate this and hit save. Alright, so make sure this is closed, and I'm going to go back here, and I want to update the parts. So what I need to do to update is I need to go to update output references. We'll start with blended, and it wants me to load it back in. I can see the blend on this part, and I'm going to hit part module update again. I want to pull in the holes. I want to load it back in, and it's saying it's unable to reference it because it was modeled away, and that was because that part was not, that input was not updated. So in order to do that, I need to merge the part modules back in to update everything. So we're going to merge in blended, and then we're going to go ahead and merge in the holes. And this should, okay, so it should be able to make show only part module. And as you can see, it pulled in the blends and the chamfer. It also stuck the countersunk hole on, and now we have a final version that was worked on by 2 different people, and it's now contained in one part file. Pretty cool. So anyway, this has been a little quick tutorial on how part modules work. I hope you guys have a lot of fun with it. It's definitely a new cool feature to learn and make good use of. If you're looking for more cool tutorials and tricks and tips, check out NX9tutorials.com. You can also check out designvisionaries.com for more